Now that you have your files exported from CAD, in this lesson, we're going to talk about how to import them into a manufacturer like SendCutSend. So let's get into it. Throughout Chapter 4, we've detailed exactly how to get your CAD files exported and ready for manufacturing. Now, we got to figure out how we're going to manufacture those parts. We don't all have access to different laser cutters or CNC machines, and that's why different manufacturers like SendCutSend are available. Now, these guys give you access to the most advanced equipment, and they make it fast and affordable to make parts, everything from 1 to, say, 10,000 parts. But one big caveat is that you have to play by the rules in which those manufacturers set. They have lots of different DFM rules and tolerances that if you follow, you can make almost anything. I made a whole entire car out of sheet metal purely just by following these rules. The right format is going to be critical. We've detailed that. Just remember the 2 different file types when you're actually exporting to follow the different machine that you're intending to use. The biggest thing is they make it easy to use. You can just drag or drop or select that file, bring it into the website, and then follow the workflow to pick out exactly how you want that part made. To see that better, let's go over here to the computer and check it out. If you don't already have a login, go ahead and create a login, but you can do that just as a guest as well. So what we're going to do here is we can drop a file or choose a file. I already have this import that I saved for us out of a DXF. We're going to drag and drop it. Once this uploads, what we're going to see is a flat rendering of our part kind of show up, and we can see that a bend line came through. This bend line is going to be at 90 degrees. Again, what we're going to want to do is just confirm the measurements here that these look correct to the default that we set inside CAD. Once we like everything that we see here, we can confirm that and we can move on to the next step. Here we're going to want to pick out the material that we're wanting to make. Since this part has a bend in it, we're going to need to make sure that we pick a material that can be bent. If we go into aluminum, we can see the different alloys show up. 5052 is the only one of these that can be bent, so let's go ahead and select that. And let's select 63 thousandths of an inch thick. So now that we've driven down, we can start seeing pricing show up, quantity details. We move forward. In the next step, we can select secondary operations. And this is where we can kind of bring that part even more to life. Let's select bending, and let's give it an angle of 90 degrees. This is a great opportunity to show the 3D rendering. We can double check that this is the right direction. Since this is a non-mirrored part, if we bend it the wrong direction, this little jog is going to come out left or right. We need to make sure that it's correct. So this is a great tool to use. You can move it around. There's also a view cube up here that you can use to orientate your part. Now that we have that, we're going to click Done. Another great option that they have is hardware insertion. So we can drop this catalog down, and this is automatically going to detect holes that are available within your design. We can open this up, see lots of different options from nuts to standoffs. Let's go ahead and select a nut, and we'll call it an 832 for our thread. Picking that, since there is only one hole that is available, it automatically aligns it to that. What we're going to do is we can also flip it from left to right. So if we want it inside or outside, we can change that orientation. Clicking Done. This simplifies and this finishes up our secondary operations. Next, what we can do is any finishing that we want. Now, deburring is defaulted. You can also select no finish. It quickens up your processing a little bit. Or we can do anodizing. Let's go ahead and select anodizing and have this change to red. Now you can see that 3D rendering also changes with it, so you can see the part is changing as it goes. Remember, a hardware installation is done after the anodizing process. Now that we select Done, we can move on to adding it to your cart. We can continue as a guest, or you can sign in for even more benefits. Now that we're in our cart, we can see a breakdown of all of the different services that we're selecting, as well as how many parts we have. Increasing this part number even to 2 is going to give you a huge discount, and as you increase this even further, we can see this price part drop to $7.56 as we move forward. Now that we have all that done, all that's left is to order. Now there is a different way that we can go ahead and add these parts directly to SendCutSend, and what that is by going into our plugin. We have a plugin for both SolidWorks and Fusion. So let's check out Fusion's. Now that we're in Fusion, we can come over to Utilities, and the way to get this is go to Add-ins, go to the Fusion App Store, and search for SendCutSend. Once you find that, download it, and it'll show up right here, ready to go. Once we click on that, we're going to see a pop-up window on the left or on the right side of our screen, in which it asks what sheet metal bodies we want to export. Since we only have the one, go ahead and select it and say start the quoting process. Once we have this done, we can select the drop-down menu for metals, and we can see aluminum show up. And it's only going to show 5052 since it has a bend in this process. If we select this, we see 125 shows up. This is automatically detecting the thickness that we have in here, and so you can click Show All, will show all 5052 thicknesses. So if we want to change it to, say, 63, you can do that. Remember, though, that this also changes your bend allowance and your bend deduction, and since you're not changing it on the CAD, your part might come out slightly wrong. So let's go ahead and select 125 on this example, since this is what the part is designed around. We're going to click Quote, and we can start seeing all of those different price discounts at different quantities show up. Now all you have to do is click Add to Cart, and it'll show up there. Once you're in the cart, that's when you can select different secondary operations like you saw before, so you can add hardware installation and anodizing once you're in that cart. You can see here that there's a ton of different ways that you can bring it in. Step files will automatically add that bend configuration in there, and then you can follow that same workflow to get your finished parts. Now that we fully understand that SendCutSend has this available for you, let's go ahead and move on to Chapter 5, where we're going to detail specifically how to design around different DFM factors with regards to sheet metal. So we'll see you on the next one.